Hi everyone, I've been wanting to do this for a really long time, so I'm getting started now. I'm just showing you some basics that I've learned about junk journaling, and I am going to take it really slow and probably do this in different parts. And I find that for me, because the junk journal process, it can be overwhelming, that my instinct are telling me to slow down and stop putting deadlines on making the journals. If I think I have to get it done in a certain amount of time, then it seems to make the whole process much more pressurized and a lot less fun and calming, which I think is what arts and crafts is all about. So this series is just going to show you some beginner's tips, and I would like to make a complete journal throughout this particular series, and I'm going to show you that. And I'm going to be watching other YouTubers and gathering information from Pinterest and from blogs and showing you any easy tips that I come across that I find helpful in terms of making pages and inserts, pockets, belly bands, anything along those lines. And I think probably my favorite part of making the junk journal is the cover. So I'm going to start with that. And what I will do is start with a manila file folder. This is just a standard manila file folder. You'll see that I cut it down to the size of my papers that I've printed out. And let's get started. Okay, so I start off with my printed pages here. I'm just using a basic ruler to make sure that the measurements are what I think they are, which is 8 by 5. And I've got my manila folder ready to measure out. This is going to be the cover, so I'm just going to mark off the 8 by 5, and I'm going to give it about a ½ inch leeway on both ends so that the chunkier the journal gets, it'll be able to handle it. And you don't have to use a paper cutter, although I find them super handy, and they make much cleaner lines than I'd be able to make with my scissors. And I just have a basic Fiskars paper cutter. I think I got it for around $14, $15, something like that, with a coupon at Joann's. And now I am using white gesso. This is just plain white gesso, and I'm covering the entire front and back of the journal, and this is just to protect it from any paints and also make anything that I put on the covers adhere better. It also adds a little bit of bulk and sturdiness to the journal itself. So I just make sure and get all the edges, and it is completely dry before I start the next step. So for this part, I take another of the printed sheets, and because I didn't tea stain or coffee stain the papers, I want to give some type of vintage look to the backs of the papers that are going to be showing up in the journal. So I took a piece of 12 by 12 scrapbook paper, and I cut it down to the exact size of the journal pages, and you can get 2 8 by 5 sheets from one 12 by 12 scrapbook paper. And I use a basic glue stick, and I just make sure to get really good coverage on that back side of the paper, and I line up. If you have already creased your printed paper, it makes it a lot easier to line up to that crease, and then I just go through and make sure to burnish it. You can do that with your hands. You could also do that with like a bone folder or a credit card, but I found that with my hands it worked fine. I just made sure to look for any like air bubbles or little wrinkles, but it's pretty easy with the glue stick to get it really nice and flat. So that'll give a nice look to the back sides of those sheets, and we'll move on to the next step. So next I want to show you how to make 2 pocket pages for your journal. I'm showing you a finished one right now. This is a really easy way to add some interest to your journal and also have some little secret compartments that can go inside that also have really pretty backgrounds with the scrapbook paper. So I take another 12 by 12 sheet, and you can be pretty free about the way that you cut this, because what you are really after is just making sure that once the paper is folded twice, and I'll show you how I make that first crease. So make sure it's lined up evenly and give it a good, nice, crisp crease. And then I'm going to fold it again. And you want to make sure when it's folded twice like that, that it's not larger on either side than your 8 by 5 sheet, so it won't stick out from the journal covers. So that middle crease that you can see kind of where my hand was gives you one sealed end, and then opposite that end you're going to use your glue stick and just very liberally apply it. Then go ahead and burnish with your fingers, and then you can stick it in a big book or underneath some books to flatten and dry it.